Jeff's Superscript is brought to you by Black Cat Comics and Collectibles, in my opinion, the best comic shop and clubhouse on the internet. Make sure to follow them at Black Cat Burbank on Instagram and ask them about their Stray Cats Club for special perks. Hi, I'm Jeff, and welcome to another one of my videos where I take a look at all the new comic books coming out on either November 2nd or 3rd, 2021, and I ask myself the question, what one new comic book would I buy this week if I could buy just one book? Now, I want to take a quick moment to thank all of my new subscribers. I've had this nice little trickle of new subscribers coming in, and I really appreciate all of you, as well as my loyal, long-term subscribers. I appreciate you so much as well. If you haven't already subscribed, you might consider subscribing. I invite you to do so if you like what you see. And in addition, if you like what you see, likes are appreciated by me. So don't be afraid to go ahead and hit that like button at any time during this video. All right, let's go ahead and move forward with the content of this video. Usually I take a look back to my pick from 2 weeks ago, but 2 weeks ago I had no pick. I had nothing but 6 honorable mentions, so I will not be doing that part of that video this week. Okay, so let's go ahead and move forward with the books that do come out this upcoming week. As always, I will have my 5 honorable mentions, and then I will have my just one book pick for the week. My first honorable mention is a new book called Human Target, issue number 1 of a 12-issue limited series from DC. Here's the description. Christopher Chance has made a living out of being a human target, a man hired to disguise himself as his client to invite would-be assassins to attempt his murder. He's had a remarkable career until his latest case, protecting Lex Luthor when things go sideways. An assassination attempt Chance didn't see coming leaves him vulnerable and left trying to solve his own murder, as he has 12 days to discover just who in the DCU hated Luthor enough to want him dead. Human Target is a hard-boiled, gritty story in the vein of classic detective noirs told by best-selling and critically acclaimed creators Tom King and Greg Smallwood. Ultimately, I like this one because it sounds like a fun and original premise, and there's not enough of that. There's much too little of that. So this is a fun story and concept. I mean, we're in the DC universe, but it's a murder, so is it going to be like it's probably not a hero who wanted Lex Luthor dead, but who was it? I doubt it's just going to be some kind of random character that we've never heard of before. But if they tell a really cool kind of detective noir story in the DC universe, I think that this could be a really entertaining read. And Tom King is no slouch, so hopefully in his capable hands, this will be a cool read to check out. The next book I want to mention to you is another new book called Dark Knights of Steel, issue number 1 of a 12-issue limited series, also from DC. Here's the description. An entire medieval world will be forever changed when a spaceship crash lands from a doomed planet. Monarchs will die, kingdoms will rise, and what seemed the end of the world for many was only the beginning. An epic high fantasy story set in the DC universe where nothing is what it seems. From worldwide best-selling writer Tom Taylor and acclaimed artist Yasmin Putri comes a generational tale of good and evil within a brand new DCU. All right, well, similar to the last one, this is a limited series. Similar to the last one, it's kind of a probably out of continuity type of story, but this could be really fun. Part of what's fun with these characters for me is that you can take them and put them in a medieval world and just tell a story about these superheroes in that time. They also throw in a little element of alien spaceships. So this comic book has a little bit of everything. Superheroes, a medieval period, and aliens. So it's by Tom Taylor. Similar to Tom King, Tom Taylor is no slouch. So hopefully, in his capable hands, this will be an entertaining read. Because if it's not, well told, if it's not a good story, well told and well written, it sounds like it could be kind of goofy. But coming from Tom Taylor, I'm definitely going to give it the benefit of the doubt. It might be something you consider checking out this week. Speaking of goofy, the next honorable mention I have is My Bad, issue number 1 from Ahoy Comics. Here's the description. A sharp superhero spoof from a stellar team that includes co-creators of Irredeemable and Second Coming. In Gravel City, the supervillain Emperor King has devised not only a sadistic death trap for his arch-enemy, the Accelerator, but also the means to penetrate the top secrets of his other arch-enemy, the Chandelier. Important new comic book universe begins here, we say sarcastically. Okay, I put this one on here because it's a bit of a palate cleanser. If you're looking for a goofy, silly, superhero comic book, this might be one that you consider checking out this week. That's basically all I have to say about this one. If you're looking for goofy, look no further than My Bad, issue number 1. The next book I want to mention to you is a new book. It is called Knighted, issue number 1 of a 5-issue limited series from Artists, Writers, and Artisans Incorporated. Here's the description. In this action-packed adventure set in the universe of The Resistance, Greg Hurwitz, Mark Texiera, and Brian Reber introduce a masked vigilante for the 21st century. Bob Ryder is a hapless bureaucrat whose bad luck streak comes to a crescendo when he accidentally kills the city's masked vigilante, the Knight. Oops. Now, Bob is forced to take on the mantle of the legendary hero before the city descends into chaos. Good thing he's got the Knight's former butler assistant to show him the ropes. All right, well, obviously, the superhero in this one is meant to be kind of a Batman clone. So think about it this way. You're a guy, and you accidentally kill Batman. And without Batman, the city is going to devolve into chaos. So you take it upon yourself to pick up the slack and become Batman. And of course, you can't do it without the help of Batman's butler. Well, that's what this book is basically. Now, considering that it's from the world of the Resistance, which seemed to be a little bit of a serious kind of story, it's a little bit surprising that this story is coming out of that world, because this does sound a little bit of like silly in a way. I could see it going very wacky very quickly, as this person who is not trained or, to be the Batman, for example, ends up having to be this superhero. But maybe it could also be just really, really cool in how this person steps up. And even though they're a fish out of water in this situation, they just pull it together and somehow they're able to succeed and really keep the town safe. So it's a premise that I have never heard of, and I like original ideas. So for that reason, I wanted to flag this as something to consider checking out this week. The next book I want to mention to you is Primordial, issue number 2 of a 6-issue limited series from Image Comics. Here's the description. The thrilling new series from Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino, the award-winning creative team behind Gideon Falls, continues. As Leica's mission strays far from the launch plan, the origins of her involvement are illuminated. Back on Earth, Dr. Pembroke attempts to uncover the truth in West Berlin. Okay, well, nothing about that description really is selling this book. For me, the reason I wanted to bring it up is that I thought issue number 1 was really, really good. I really, really liked it. I thought the art was fantastic. I thought the story was, it was a little slow, but that's because they're teeing up the premise, so to speak. But as they gave me little bits of more and more information, I became more and more engaged and more excited and more like, interested in what was going to be coming. For those of you that didn't see my video when I talked about issue number 1, the premise is basically we're kind of in an alternate history of America. In this history of America, John F. Kennedy did not become president. Instead, Richard Nixon became president when John F. Kennedy was president in our timeline. Through that, the space program, the NASA space program, didn't quite succeed as well as it did under Kennedy, and they end up folding it. But there's a little bit of a mystery that takes place with the animals that the two chimps that the United States sent into space and the dog that the Russians sent into space. And it seems, I don't know, like I want to know more about this mystery. I want to know more about this world, and I want to know more about this story. So I find this story really interesting. I find the art really great, and people just aren't talking about Primordial. I don't know what is so interesting to me about it that is not interesting to other people. In fact, if you've read Primordial, please tell me down in the comments what you found interesting about it, or if you read it and you're like, this is not for me, tell me what about it you didn't like down in the comments, because I'd like to get some more information about this, because I really, really liked it, but it seems like people are just kind of, there's no buzz at all, and I think that there should be buzz, which is why I went ahead and put issue number 2 as an honorable mention this week. All right. We're done with the honorable mentions. Now we can focus on the one book that I would buy this week if I could buy just one book. And that book would be Newburn, issue number 1 from Image Comics. Here's the description. Easton Newburn is a private detective without loyalties, investigating conflicts between rival crime factions while collecting enemies along the way. In this debut issue, a man is murdered after stealing from his own mafia family, but they aren't the ones who ordered the hit. This new ongoing series from Chip Zdarsky and Jacob Phillips features a riveting backup story, Brooklyn Zirconia, by rising stars Nadia Shamas and Zayed Yusuf Ayub. Okay. So this is the second kind of detective noir story we have going on this week. What I'm going to say about this book is that I like the premise. It sounds like a unique premise. It sounds like something that I want to dig into and learn about and get information on. But ultimately, the thing that is driving me to this book this week is Chip Zdarsky. I do like Chip Zdarsky. I've been reading Stillwater, which is a book that I started just to kind of sort of check out, and I'm just like, no, I'm going to absolutely keep reading this because I've really been enjoying the world building that has been taking place in Stillwater. Also, his run on Daredevil is esteemed, and although I'm not collecting that every issue, I have read some of them, and every time I read one, I'm like, I get why people like this. It's because it's good. Then I've read things like Spider-Man, Life Story from Chip Zdarsky, and that was really, really good. His Spider-Man, Spider Shadow, What If story was really, really good. So I'm just a big fan of Chip Zdarsky. So when I heard about this new book, I was immediately on board. And it by far is the standout pick for me this week. But I'm going to stop talking about my reasons that I think that you should pick up this book. I'm going to go ahead and let Chip Zdarsky speak for himself. How, you may ask? Well, I am a subscriber to his Substack. I don't pay for a membership. I'm just getting the free newsletter that he sends out once or twice a week. And in one of his newsletters several weeks ago, he talked about this book, and he listed all the reasons why he thought you should check it out. So I'm going to read those as quickly as possible, and then we will move forward from there. Here we go. Newburn is a crime book. It revolves around a successful private detective named Easton Newburn, who is on retainer to all the crime families in New York City. He solves crimes within organizations and between them, keeping the city from exploding into gang wars while wandering the city with a massive target on his back. It's Sherlock meets The Sopranos. I've been told this is a very effective way to pitch something. It's a popular thing meets another popular thing. You can't go wrong. A lot of people tell me that, as a writer, I'm James Tynan meets Desperation. Chip Zdarsky's a funny guy. The next one is, fans of Criminal and Reckless will love it. Look, one of us is the son of the guy who draws the criminal books, and the other, and their colorist, and the other regularly calls Ed Brubaker Daddy. The next one is, each issue is a one-and-done story. Excuse me, let me reread that. Each issue is a done-in-one story. We're treating this book like a procedural, so readers can jump in with any issue. I've always wanted to write something like this, and after working on Daredevil for the past couple of years, I finally feel like I can take what I've learned from that and write the gritty crime comic I've always wanted to read. He then says, we have 6 of these bad boys in the can. Did I mention Jacob is amazing and fast? Then Newburn will have backup stories. We're serializing crime stories from up-and-coming comic creators. Our first one is an intense and beautiful story about brothers torn apart by crime. It's called Brooklyn Zirconia, and it's by Nadia Shamas and Zayed Youssef Ayub. The next one is, the Tula Lotte variant is gorgeous and isn't one of those, oh, I gotta order 1 million to get one variants. You know the ones. Then he says, it's already been bought by one of those Hollywood outfits, and I'm writing the pilot. Look, we know how this goes. Some people will want to check this out because of that. I'm not here to judge. I just want you to read my comic. I'm going to pause right there. That's worth taking note of. This book hasn't even come out yet. It's already been optioned, and someone has already paid him to write a pilot. So that's saying something. So I'm definitely interested in reading this first issue and finding out what are these other people so excited about that they're already got the option and making it into a TV show or a movie or something. Those wheels are already turning, so it's something worth checking out right there. And finally, he says, it's really good, I think. I mean, I'm the writer, so it's hard for me to judge, but I'm really happy with what we've made, and Jacob is a superstar talent. One day, I'll learn to love myself. So, those are all the reasons between the ones I've enumerated and the ones that Chip Zdarsky himself enumerated why I have made Newburn issue number 1 my just one book pick for this week. Okay, so that's my list. Once again, I invite non-subscribers to subscribe. I invite people who haven't hit the like button yet to hit the like button. And I thank all of you who have watched this video today and who watch week after week. Thank you all so much. I will see you in the next one.